May 2023 Vedic Astrology update. Wow, these are turbulent times, and I am really wondering how you're feeling. Love to hear that. What's going on for you? Feel free to leave me a comment about that. We are in eclipse season, and it is a very unpredictable time still, especially the first half of the month. Things will start to stabilize more in the second half of the month, but won't be till really as we get into June, till things really start to settle out more. This is the time of the unexpected. With the solar eclipse having just rolled through all of our soul blueprints, all of our lives, shifting our direction, Mercury being in retrograde until the 14th of this month, really slowing things down and complicating our communication in some way. Jupiter's moved into Aries in Vedic astrology. There's so much going on in Aries. Gosh, what is Aries in your chart and what is it representing? Aries is very combustible and inspiring, but it's also a place where things move very fast. It's time to birth something new, but it's a bit confusing with Rahu there, the north node of the moon. It's also a time where you're going to really want to stay grounded. We're coming into a lunar eclipse on May 5th. So lots moving and shaking, and you're going to want to keep your sea legs on, stay steady, stay grounded. Hi, I'm Prema Gurreri, and welcome to Chart Your Path. I am so glad that you are here. If this is all resonating for you and you want to stay tuned to all of my updates and all the content that I bring, then please click the subscribe, like this, share this. I so appreciate it. And if you want to know what your Vedic astrology chart is, so you know what your ascendant is, and that's what you want to listen to here and engage things by, as well as your moon is more how you want to feel, you might want to grab the chart calculator. The link is down below, as well as some of my other free offerings. And I am running an eclipse reading special where I will go in depth in a session with you and really help you to understand what these pivotal eclipses are triggering for you, what they're asking from you, and what the gift and the challenges, along with the other major transits we have during this time, including the Mercury retrograde, the Jupiter transit, and answer your questions and more. So that's half price right now, and that link is down below, so you can grab that. So as we start the month with all this energy happening in Aries, the place of movement. You know, it's fire in the element of like a forest fire, chara. It's moving, and things move very quickly here, but that also makes them very combustible. So the Mercury retrograde started on April 21st, and it will go until the 14th of May. And so things will be a little bit wonky until that time. And with the Mercury retrograde, what I want to invite you to do is, you know, Mercury is asking us to reevaluate a certain area of life. And depending on the house that is for you and what it represents, when Mercury slows down, it's 3 times in a year in the same element. This year is fire. That represents something specific for you, either purpose, relationships, wealth, or spirituality, and then finer qualities of that. And so you're taking a closer look at that. So Mercury retrograde is not all bad by any means, but it is a wonky time, absolutely, and especially when it's with Rahu. So it's really our great merchant and communicator in the Vedic astrology, in the Sacred Wealth Code system, and it's with the magician, which is Rahu. So Rahu's going to amplify, it's going to complicate things, and Mercury going retrograde, it's not really going backwards, it's farthest point away from the sun. It makes it very, very strong. It's our travel and communication and technology and our ability to evaluate things. It's that intellect for us, our clarity. It can impact our, ability to make clear decisions. So while it's retrograde, those things, we are really reevaluating things, and those things tend to move slower. It's not that we can't carry on business as usual. It just won't be as usual, especially with the magician there. So it's not like do nothing. What it is that you want to slow down like Mercury is slowing down, take more time to process things, because Mercury is really about process. Think about this. It has to do with communication and a business and our intellect, and those are all process-oriented things. They change sort of with the season and with the weather, so we want to stay attuned to that. So during this time, be very conscious with your communication, because with the Mercury retrograde in Aries, we can be reactive, and things can blow up quickly when we're reactive. So instead of that, you want to respond. In order to respond, you've got to listen. So breathe. Take a step back when you're like wanting to fire off a response, a reaction to someone while they're still trying to express themselves to you. Whoa, take a deep breath, sit back, evaluate. It's always okay to take a step away and then come back. And if you don't have clarity for something, take a step back, tune in, open up, let the clarity come to you. It just may not be there right in the moment. After the 14th, clarity is going to come much quicker. If you are traveling during this time, watch, it could be changeable weather, get travel insurance, or if you're making plans to travel during this time, it's just a wonky period of time. Mercury is hard to put your finger on. A beat of Mercury, it's in the thermometer. It changes very rapidly. So it really calls us to be very present as well with this energy and this aspect. And that's true if you're an entrepreneur, if you have a business, or even in your career. Things are changing very rapidly. So make decisions that are a little bit more short term during Mercury retrograde. It's okay if it's long term, if it's the theme and it's aligned with your purpose, but what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, shorter term decisions are helpful during the retrograde period of time, and then you can make longer plans after it goes direct. Jupiter 21st also went into, the 21st of April, went into Aries. So I talked about this a little bit last month, but this is a really big shift. I mean, Jupiter moves once a year. This means something very, very significant for you. I'm talking about this in my eclipse readings as well. Jupiter is our great teacher, our great visionary. And it's the guru planet. It's the planet of the most light. Actually, Venus has more light, but guru Jupiter stays in a sign for one whole year. And that means that it can radiate that light. From there, it has a trine aspect. So it's gonna shine its light to the trine from the house that it is in, which is all going to be the same. It's going to be all the fire constellations basically in your chart. And also it's going to shine its light on Libra. So it brings a lot of grace. Think about it. Where there's light, there's grace. Jupiter wants to expand. Coming into Aries, it wants us to birth something new it's been contemplating on in Pisces and expanding about. And Aries is the beginning of the zodiac. And what is it that you're birthing new? We want to do it in a very creative way because Rahu's there, magician's there. And we want to lean into the creativity so we don't get into the complications of things. If you're not clear about what it is that you're birthing, this is something I've been talking about since the beginning of the year, then get creative about being in the process of understanding what it is that you're birthing this year. When I say creative, think out of the box. This is when things aren't going to go by the book because we've got Rahu involved. And the magician's here, and that's what happened with the sun and the moon and the Rahu, that created the solar eclipse, which shifted your trajectory. And then Jupiter comes in just right after that and is going to expand that area and help to illuminate that shift in trajectory for you. But it's going to do it in an out-of-the-box way through November or through October because Rahu's involved in the party here. Okay, so what are you birthing? Things are going to move very rapidly with Jupiter because it's really flying through the nakshatra of Ashwini. It's moving very, very quickly. So again, take a deep breath, move, with intention. weigh things against what's true for you. Lean into your wisdom. That's all Jupiter. What is your purpose as you're, what you're birthing and what you're focusing on? Where you are bumping into drama, complication, and have gotten intoxicated with something, now you're on the shadow side, the magician. And that's where you need to reel back and sit with the guru within. Get in alignment with your values, your purpose. Make sure you stay grounded through your practices, your spiritual practices. Get your feet on the ground. Through all the turbulent energy that we're in, is so important. Be in nature. Defer to trusted mentors where you are confused during this time. And honor that voice inside, not the ego voice. And you know what that feels like. So meditation is very important. In my Solutionary Blueprint, I have a whole section of all kinds of meditations and clearing processes to help people to be able to really connect with their own truth, their own inner voice, weigh that against their soul blueprint. You can do that, tune in, whatever your spiritual practice, and get physical at some level. We've got to live here on this plane of embodiment. So take care of your body, get your feet on the ground. It's very important. And be careful about your reactive communication or your reactive decisions, because that's what this energy, just like in the retrograde, will bring up. We are going to have a conjunction of Rahu and Jupiter. They will meet in the heavens. The planets go clockwise. The nodes of the moon are counterculture. They go counterclockwise. They go against the grain. They are here to help us, to agitate us, and help us to grow. These two are going to be meeting up on May 26th. This is in this conjunction. I'm going to talk about this at the end of the update here because I want to go chronologically for you. So just percolate on the information I've given you now. Hang until the end, and I want to talk about that exact conjunction and what you are to pay attention to and what you are to watch out for, okay? On May 1st, Pluto is in Capricorn in Vedic Astrology, and it is going to retrograde at 6 degrees of Capricorn. What do you have going on in Capricorn? We look at the outer planets for very specific things, and I like to pay attention to when they do go retrograde and when they do go direct and when they conjunct things. Now, Pluto is a planet of major transformation. It is always going to sort of bring things up that we need to work on, that we need to change. It's a disruptor in that way, and especially in the areas of career, our social responsibilities, our leadership. But it can also trigger our fear. It can create power struggles, control issues, and it can bring secrets up to the surface. Now, it's going to retrograde for a while, but it's most poignant right around the time it does. So that theme will be playing out in Capricorn. On May 2nd, Venus will go into Gemini. It's been in Taurus, very happy. It's been really the stabilizing force, but it's going to move into Gemini on May 2nd. That's good. It's in the house of a friend. We are talking about the great connector in Gemini, a place where we want to communicate and share our intellectual ideas and perceptions and connect through those mental, pathways. A time when we want to be social. It's good for entertainment and travel. And you'll probably find yourself on social media more and texting more, and it's that kind of an energy. So connect with people who you enjoy and give yourself that. You're going to feel the fluidity of your connections and really let your connector come out and shine. The May 5th is our next transit, which is a very important one, and that is the lunar eclipse at 20 degrees of Libra. That will complete our 2 eclipse cycle, and then we won't have eclipses again until the fall, where this eclipse pattern of Libra and Aries will finish up, and the eclipses will after that shift in 2024 into Pisces and Virgo. Getting a little ahead of myself, but hang in with me. So this lunar eclipse will be at 20 degrees of Libra. It's a penumbral eclipse. Which means it's not a total. The one in November was a total. This is a partial And so it will not have as much of an impact. It will not have the kind of impact a solar eclipse has, because a lunar eclipse is more of a trigger in the moment. It brings unexpected things up in the moment, and it's going to play on the same theme and bring into, I want to say, bring into physicality, into fruition, what was going on like February to October 2022, when we had the last energy here of eclipses. So this is happening in Vishaka. I will do a whole update on this coming out in just a few days, so I'm not going to get into it too deeply here, but Libra rules our relationships. We have been looking at our relationships over the last year so far in our energetic exchange. How much do we compromise? Our karmic patterns that have been coming up in our face around relationship, with the eclipse pattern being here. Now, K2 the Mystic wants us to let go, relinquish things that can, and it can feel like loss, but it's really to help us walk our more divine path. I'll be doing the full moon healing circle on May 5th on the lunar eclipse. And because Libra deals specifically with our relationships, this is really a powerful, powerful opportunity to not only break free, but to really simply let go and relinquish those old karmic relationship patterns, allowing you to receive some big shifts in your relationships and really come to that really beautiful and nourishing, balanced energy that's possible when we're in conscious relationships. So that's what we will be shifting and healing on the full moon healing circle. The link is down below about that, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that more in the lunar eclipse update. Mars is then moving into Cancer. Now, it's been in Gemini, and as it moves into Cancer, it is going to be in a water sign, and it's really debilitated in Cancer. And look, debilitated and exalted is all good. Everything's good for something. What is it good for? Well, this is going to be good for really putting your attention on discipline. The definition I resonate with is disciple of the one. This is the energy of the honorable warrior, but going into a place, Cancer, of home and family and devotion. It's really not the place for the honorable warrior. This can, the Cancers is the moon owns this, so it's emotional and brings emotional intensity. Mars there, really, again, brings this emotional intensity. So what I want to invite you to do while Mars is there is you're going to want to really sink into your discipline. What are the practices you do to keep yourself disciplined? Think about it. A warrior has to hone on a mental level, has to really hone the mind and hone the body to be able to take a stand for things and do battle. So lean in. We don't want you to do any battle, but we want Mars to lean into that, being very disciplined in spiritual practice and physical practice. And especially you Aries and Scorpio ascendants, you are Martians, and this is good advice for everyone. You need to sweat to take the edge off, okay? That's always great advice for Mars energy, but Mars can get frustrated in this position. Mars also is our productivity, our passion, and it's going to be watered down, basically. So you may not feel as productive. Things can move a bit slower. So it takes more patience. So in order to not get triggered, I really encourage you to really be strong in your spiritual practice. After that, the next sign Mars will transit into is Leo, and it'll be very strong and very powerful there for all the things that Mars is good for. On May 14th, Mercury goes direct, as we talked about already, and so then we're going to really feel that clarity start to drop in. May 14th as well, the sun moves into Taurus, so the sun is finally our great leader, our great king is moving away from Rahu, the magician, the north node of the moon, and And that is going to be a big sigh of relief. That is going to help us to have some clarity and stability after a very destabilized period of time. So with the sun in Taurus, we will, it'll be a relief on many levels, including a mental level. And you'll just feel like you can just be more solid in yourself and express yourself more clearly, and your confidence will feel more solid. The focus will change to really leadership from our values, and really, values, and Taurus is very much also around our comfort, our security, our family, our values, and that's where our leadership will be focused more so once we get to May 14th through June 14th. And it'll be a little bit easier to make some more decisions again, will become easier. So there's a lot happening at mid-month. There's still one more transit at mid-month, okay? So this is 3 transits at mid-month that are moving us into more of a place of clarity. So on that same day, Jupiter is traveling over 5 degrees of the eclipse point. The solar eclipse was at 5 degrees of Aries. Jupiter is going to transit that. And wherever a planet hits the eclipse point, a malefic is going to trigger it more in a challenging way. A benefic is going to bring light. And Jupiter will bring grace to the eclipse point. And you'll just start to get more of a sense of what that solar eclipse really has been for you. And so some more insights will come in during that time. May 19th, the new moon is going to be at 4 degrees of Taurus in Kritika, and of course Sun and Moon together for a new moon, and this will start a new cycle around our values and creativity and harmony and artistic ability and our security. And I'll be bringing you an update there for the new moon during that time. But it's really about having our comfort, our happiness, our pleasure, and what we need to do to align with our values in order to do so. On May 26th, that's that Jupiter conjunction I wanted to tell you about. Okay, so that conjunction is going to happen at 8 degrees of Aries. Do you have planets there? It's going to be more intense for you if you do. I want to say really the week before, the week after, we're really feeling that conjunction, but it's going to be exact on the 26th of May. This is a Guru Chandala Yoga. This is, again, the magician with the teacher, with the visionary. This is Jupiter-Rahu. These are the 2 most expansive planets in a conjunction. Well, the node of the moon, the north node, is not a planet, but we treat it that way. So it's strong, it's intense. It's not necessarily good or bad. It's just strong and intense. So if you're having complication and drama come in, then you know that that is an area you need to step back and simplify. The remedy for complication and drama is to simplify things. You're involved in too much, okay? Either too much around the same subject or same person or whatever. It's taking a step back. And chop wood, carry water during this time. Stay focused. It could be really creative, though. There could be some creativity that really comes through. So lean into your creativity at this time. There may be insights, out of the box. Also beware, though, of I want to say gurus and mentors that are a little more on the shadow side, more extreme can come through. So just, stay really true to yourself. Lean into knowledge, lean into truth. And there can be sudden changes during this time. So you want to stay present, you want to stay aligned. So how do you do that? Again, you stay aligned, you do your practices so your alignment is what is most important. That is the beacon of who you are. Stay aligned with your soul blueprint, with your values, with your truth, what's true for you. Your spiritual practices will help you to do that, whether that's meditation, yoga, your getting your feet on the earth, being in nature, allowing some expansion, and doing good self-care, because you can feel worn out during this time if a lot's going on. Self-care, self-care, self-care. It will not be this intense forever, okay? So you can't take care of too many things and too many people. Remember that, okay? Take care of yourself first. On May 30th, Venus moves into Cancer. So it's the second move for Venus in May. And Venus in Cancer, moving out of Gemini, out of that all that social communication, is going to bring a focus more on our connection at home and our comfort at home and family and bonding and connecting with family and working on our homes and beautifying our homes and nurturing, our home and devotion to home and devotion to family. So Mars will still be there. Venus will help Cancer during this time, but still make sure to take your time and listen and connect in. And Cancer really, again, is all about what you're devoted to. And Venus, is our great connector, and really giving yourself the time, the focus to connect in and love on home and family, because that's going to really feel nourishing on many levels, especially with all the turbulence. So there's lots going on, big rock and roll time. I'd love to hear what's been coming up for you. What are you feeling like the shifts of these eclipses are bringing in? What are you struggling with the Mercury Retrograde? And I so appreciate you subscribing and commenting and sharing this around. And if you want to know what all this energy means for you, all this time we're in and the transits coming up, then including all the eclipses, then book an eclipse reading with me, and we'll dive deeply into your chart, and I'll answer all your questions. That special half off will be going through the lunar eclipse, so grab that while you can. All right, stay tuned. I'll bring the full moon lunar eclipse update next.